in Bristol goes way back there too. So one of their, I think the third generation went to Hamilton, and so did John Myers, excuse me, and they formed this company. It's right next to White Creek, just across the creek for the town barn in Kirkland. You know where that is, where the town barn is in Kirkland? It's been recent, the last couple of years. It's been the what was it called? The help me out here. Who? Yeah, A.H. Rhodes Company, right? On the same building. Well, let me finish up about the paint company. So the paint company used the ore for red pigment in mortar colors and in paint. And they're new owners in the 1920s, and they put that new shaft down and so forth. And in 1945, another company took over. Greg Burns was the director of it. Bruce Baer. Some of you, if you were Clinton people, may recall a dentist named Dr. Francis. He married Ginny Baer, who was the daughter of Bruce Baer, who was the superintendent of the paint company the last several years until it was bought, and I never understood this. Pfizer, you remember the Kefauver hearings? You're all too young, but Senator Estes Kefauver was investigating the drug industry back at that time, and Pfizer was a big drug firm. And I guess they thought they should diversify and buy other operations. So they bought, for some reason, a paint mill. Why would a drug company buy a paint mill in Franklin Springs, New York? I have no idea. Because they, I guess, were trying to diversify. They bought it one year and closed it up the next year. Probably for a tax write-off, I don't know. So in 1964 was the end of the paint company, also the end of the mining up on Brimfield Street. And since then there's been no mining, to my knowledge, of any hematite ore in the town of Kirkland. I could be wrong, but I don't think there is any. Since then, up in the Rhodes, was recently the Rhodes factory, there was a guy that, Chip Walker, lived up on Marvin Street. Excuse me, okay. And he ground glass, he ground powder to make glasses. I didn't quite understand the process, but he was originally over in one of the bowling alley buildings off Taylor Ave in the 1950s. Then he went up there to Franklin, and he was there, and also John von Bergen, the sculptor. Some of you may know John. He had a studio there for a while. And then James H. Rhodes came in, and they're part of Universal Photonics, which make a surfacing and polishing for the electronics industry, silicon wafers and so forth. But they left town in 2014 and went to Vernon. Why would you go from Clinton to Vernon? I figured that out. So they're casting polyurethane polishing pads, excuse me, and I can't explain this all to you, but they sell to Japan and so forth. So they left, and it's been for sale, but now somebody just bought it. Does anybody know who bought it? There's a sold sign on it now. And here's, now the buildings were red. Can you imagine? They were all red back when there was a paint mill. It was red paint, obviously. But Rhodes put up these fancy, looks like vinyl siding. And that's how it looks today. Right there. Right next to White Creek in downtown Franklin Springs. It's for sale. I guess it's been sold now. And they're a division of Universal something. Well, we've all said, okay, we're coming to a close. Aren't you all happy? Good. By the way, we have refreshments afterwards. I always put in a pitch when I do these programs. If you live in a community that has an historical society, I recommend you join it. There are 26 historical societies in Oneida County, and they all are run by volunteers for the most part. And they all rely on dues money coming in from members. So if you have and the dues is usually $10 or $12 or $20. You know, they're not high priced. I had lunch today at McDonald's. I paid $12 for lunch there with my cousin and her boyfriend. So it's the price of a lunch for 3 at McDonald's. You can join and be part of a local historical society. If we didn't have this society here, I wouldn't be doing this program today. I wouldn't be doing many other things too. Okay, there was a last breath, you might say, another attempt to keep the business going. The Commonwealth, so sensitive. For about 10 years, we had up on Franklin Springs on Furnace Street, where it comes back into 12B, where the pond was, where the cooling pond. They dumped all this slag. They've been dumping it since 1850, so they had a lot of slag over there. It's mostly gone, by the way. You know, if you look down there, Peck's slag bed is almost gone. They've been selling it for years for hard fill. But at that time, there was still a lot there. So Commonwealth, they somehow ground it up and sold it as a roofing material. I don't quite understand how they did it, but for about 10 years, there was a roofing material firm there. And since then, it's been the Beck family been selling the slag. But the Commonwealth did build a plant on the south end of Furnace Street in 1901, and it ground the slag up for roofing. And again, I don't understand the process, so I can't explain it to you, but for 10 years, and they were a New York City firm. They weren't just here. They had an office in New York City, too. And it had listings in the local directories up to 1912, and it disappeared. So what's left after all this? Well, a lot of ore. Low-grade Clinton hematite ore. It's too bad we can't do something with it. If you have any ideas, call the Chamber of Commerce. They'd be happy to talk to you, I'm sure. And we probably could buy the mineral rights very cheaply, would be my guess. I'm not sure. But again, it was here for about 100 years. The industry was. The blast furnace is about 60. About the paint business, about more than that. So again, the businesses were subject to the cyclical ups and downs of the economy, and the better grades of ore became the ones that were more competitive and were higher quality. So that's it, folks. Thank you for coming, and join your local society, okay? It's only 3 o'clock, so if you want to leave, leave. But if there are any questions I could help answer, say again. I have a hearing problem.
A little information. In the mineral world, it's called oolitic hematite. And if you look at it real close, you'll see it consists of all these little maple spheres.
Yeah, it's O-O-L-I-T-I-C, right? The oolitic. Yeah. Anybody else have a question? I don't know the answer to that. Any other questions? Yeah. Go ahead. How many people here has somebody who worked in the mines? A relative. Any hands? I've seen one. Grandfather. Yeah, your mother works at the paint mill. Okay. Well, that's good. And they survived, right? Any other questions? Yes. Yes. You want a list of workers who were miners in 1860? No, that's another example of things that we've lost over the years. They did not leave. They might have left them to somebody, but we don't have them. You know, these we have a lot of church rosters and so forth here, but in terms of company workers lists, no. Anybody else? Yes.
Beside our house on Kellogg. We have a right-of-way beside our house on Kellogg Street going off out, and were there mines out there? I thought there were mines out on Kellogg Street. And where did they go up to?
I also forgot to mention much about the workers, but they mostly were immigrants. There were a lot of Polish and Russian and Welsh and Irish, I'm sure. And there were a couple of bars on New Street. Didn't you live in where's the Momonelli's? Wasn't your house a bar? Wasn't your house a bar? Yeah, Vince's, and your house was a bar on Kellogg. And the cross street in the corner. So there were a few bars. I'm not sure what they were used for, but there were some bars there. Does somebody have a hand up over here? No. Anything else? It's just 3 o'clock. How was that?